folks. It is Fix the Vet Day. If you watched my last video, you know I busted a valve spring and pretty much almost trashed the entire motor. And I was this close to getting an LS3, but didn't happen, so we're keeping the LS6. So let's see what I've got. Parts came in today. We can put her back together. First up, we got the new set of trick flow valve springs. Now, these are the exact springs that are in the car now, and even though they blew up, they did make it 57,000 miles. Be careful. They can cause cancer and reproductive harm, and if they go boom, they can also cause a heart attack. Looks like a valve spring. And look at that on the box. Use this box to store your old springs. Condition: screwed. Number of runs: way too many. Yeah, somebody in marketing is messing up. They need to put on here. I don't guess they did put on here. Forged chrome moly, push rods, valve springs, roller rockers, CNC. Somebody needs to put on here that you should only run these things for, say, 30,000 miles and then change it. But I know now, so it's not a problem. The other thing I got is the new little tool to put on there and compress the springs. And to do that, I have an air fitting. Screws in the spark plug. You can put some air in the cylinder, keep your valves from falling into the cylinder, which is very bad. I got that piece there at, I think, Napa, and then the other one is it's 1/4-inch pipe. You can just put in whatever kind of airline fitting you've got. Now, if you don't have an air compressor, you can get by with a nice short piece of clean rope, especially if it's like nylon rope where you can push the rope. You can push it into the cylinder and then gently bring the piston up by turning the crank until it's compressed at the top of the cylinder. That will also hold the valves in place. But I'm going to use air this time. Try out this new tool. It even comes with a complete set of instructions in case you can't figure out how to use it. And they also mention a lot of times that if you're running on an LS7, 3, LSAs, they have the offset valves. You got to do stuff a little different. But on the Gen 3, pretty straightforward. Screw it in where the rocker goes and has a spot for a 3/8-inch wrench. You pull it down, should be good. Even sent a nice sticker. Since I don't put stickers on my car, we'll have to add it to the door of stickers. And there we go. Lingenfelter's on there. Joins lots of, all balls. Lots of other good manufacturers. All right, we are in business. As you can see, got the air line hooked in here, feeding air into the cylinder. Running about 50 pounds in there. That's holding everything up fine. I went ahead and cheated and went ahead and did the first one to make sure I knew exactly what I was doing. And everything went pretty well. So we'll do the next one in line. You do need to put your rail here in because the bottom of this is round, designed to fit in that. So right now I'm going to move it over to valve number 2. Get that started by hand. Snug down's fine. Now to do this, you need a 3/8-inch ratchet to go in the side here. Okay, and also a magnet tool is handy because you can just grab the keepers with it. Now, let me show you something here. I haven't done anything with the valve yet. Oh, that actually popped loose. When I did the first one, it started to open the valve and leak air by because these retainers cinch down on those keepers, which is the only thing that saved this valve. So if it's trying to open the valve, what you need to do is just take you a punch or whatever you got, put it on the edge of the retainer, not on the end of your valve, but on the edge of the retainer, and just give it a couple of little taps. That will break that seal loose and then that'll all come apart just fine. So we'll pull that, we'll get those keepers out, and we'll swap that spring. Pull that down. Grab that other keeper, got both of them. Let the pressure off. And probably should have grabbed onto the retainer, but it did hit the floor, so it's my lucky day. Okay, so now we can push that down and ratchet it around a little bit. We'll lift that up, and the valve spring comes right out. Now, as you can see, that air pressure does a great job of holding that valve up. Because if you didn't have the air pressure on the cylinder, it would be like this one. Now, that valve stem seal, if they're in good shape, see, it's actually holding the valve up. But boy, I really, just as soon as I trusted that, I would walk away and the valve would disappear down in the cylinder. So I put air to it. Now we're ready to put a new spring on. I moved the camera around, so hopefully you can see this better. Now I'm only going to do this once, you know, on video, because it's kind of awkward. Okay, now we got her shoving down. Go in. And put in one keeper. Get it to click. Now I'm going to slide it around with a pick. Now, stick keeper number 2 on the other side. Okay. And you can't see a thing because my hand's in the way. But there they are. Basically, you just push it down, drop the keepers in, let it back up. Sorry you couldn't see, but hey, I got to be able to get this in there. All right, just do that 14, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Do that 14 more times, and you will be done. All right, I'm going to go ahead and pull that. I'll move my air hose over and get that bad spring out of there and show you that mess. Well, I did not get lucky after all. Swapped out the bad spring. Hear all that air escaping? That's an exhaust valve. Guess where that air is going? Yeah, you guessed it. Right out the exhaust. So the valve is definitely bent. And here is the broke valve spring. Broke there. There. And the top came off. Nice. Well, I thought about it some more, and taking the car in right now and completely tearing it down for an engine overhaul is just not the right timing. I mean, it's just the 1st of December. I'm going to do some more driving. And if I tore it down now, by the time I got it done, it probably would be nice and cold and snowy. So what we're going to do, yank the intake off, yank the header off this side, pull that head. We'll just fix the valve. We'll go ahead and put springs on both sides. We'll run it. It's just a head gasket and some bolts, and an exhaust gasket. She'll be good to go. Now, I do, of course, have to wait till next week to get the parts because the local auto parts was like 5 times higher than what I could get the stuff from Rock Auto. And they didn't even have an exhaust valve anywhere. Not in the warehouse. They were going to have special order ones. So I think the dogs are a little anxious. So they were pretty much worthless. The parts will be here next week. Swap it out. noticed that I missed video a couple of things on the intake manifold. Before you pull it off, you need to go from the passenger side, reach around behind it. There is an electrical connector for your map sensor, and then there is also below that a little vacuum connector that you pull off. You don't want to leave those on there because when you try to lift the manifold up, those will be hanging you up and you'll have to stop and get them in. So don't forget those before you lift it up off there. Now we're down to simply unbolting the hand. Right there is the one that's bent. It doesn't look bad, but it is just off just enough that it leaks and doesn't seal good against the head, which can cause heat buildup in the valve and end up causing even more problems. And right there is where it smacked into it. One little divot in the top of the piston. Well, the head is off. Parts will be here in a couple of days. That little dent in the top of the piston is not going to hurt anything. So I'll just smooth it down to where there's no rough edges that could cause detonation. And we're going to put this back together. I'm going to drive it for another couple of months. And then when it gets really cold and nasty, we'll pull it completely out and go through it and rebuild it. Right now, I'd like to drive it another couple of months, and I would like to be able to put it in the other garage under its own power. So be watching for the videos on the engine rebuild, and until next time, thanks for watching.